Welcome everybody to another episode of John's Demo Room. I'm John with iReAT, and today we're going to be taking a look at another CCTV from Rihan Electronics. This time it's the Acuity 22. So without further ado, let's dive down and take a closer look at how she works. Okay, here we are up close with the Rihan Acuity 22. So one thing you might notice real quick is I added a tactile overlay sticker since the intro video. So I just want to show this off for just a second, so I stuck it on here. What this is it's a tactile sticker that you can overlay over the control panels to make it feel like these on-screen buttons have a more physical button type feel. So just in case you're not a fan of just the touchscreen type buttons, you can add this tactile overlay for the physical button style feel. Just kind of a nice little free thing that they toss in the box. So every unit comes with it, and you can add that if you prefer the physical button style. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this guy started up. The power button is right up here underneath the right hand corner. Just press and hold that till you hear a chime and it starts to boot up. While this is starting up, I just want to say that this is a 22-inch HD display, and when I say it's HD, that means that it's both 1080p HD screen and 1080p camera, so you do have true HD all the way through, resulting in a crystal clear image for you. Okay, so we're all started up, so I'm going to throw this little local newspaper thing under here. It seems like I use this for all my videos, so we're going to go ahead and do it again. And here we go. Okay. And then just before I get started on the control set, I want to talk real quick about the tray. So there are 4 different positions that you can move this little purple lever into. If you're all the way to the right, the tray is locked. You can't move it around. If you move it over just one click here, it locks it vertically, and you can just move from side to side horizontally and help you keep and stay reading on one line. Okay, and you move it one more position here, and this unlocks the vertical, but it adds a little, it has a magnetic brake in there. So when you switch it to the third position there, it steps in small increments. So you'll kind of notice it kind of bumps down like a little increment at a time. And that's helpful, especially for reading at high zoom levels. It helps you keep like just, bump down a sentence or something like that rather than kind of freehanding it and maybe not getting exactly where you want. You can just bump down a line at a time with that. So kind of a cool little feature in there. And then if you push it all the way to the left, you're just freehanding it and it just moves around and glides around just like so. Okay, so we'll go back and we're gonna lock it in place for right now. Okay, and let's go ahead and go through the different controls. So first of all, we have our contrast mode button or color mode button, whichever you want to call it. And you press this and you cycle through all the different color modes or high contrast modes. So the first one is our full color mode, which we're on. Press it again, now we're on black and white. Press it again, and here we are to white on black, black on white, yellow on black, black on yellow, yellow on blue, blue on yellow, green on black, black on green, red on black, and finally black on red, and then we switch it again and we're back to full color. So one kind of cool thing you can do is you can set independent zoom levels for your full color modes and your high contrast modes. So, and they kind of distinguish them by the color modes being like picture viewing modes and the high contrast modes being reading modes. So like if you're going to be looking at a picture or a photograph, you're going to want it to be full color, as where if you're reading, a lot of times people are going to be using high contrast modes, and you can set independent zoom levels for that. So if I just zoom in here a little bit, I'll go to like 4 times, okay, and then I switch, and you'll notice when I go to a high contrast mode, it zooms back out to whatever zoom level I had set for my high contrast mode. So it just remembers where you were at when you do it. So anyway, kind of a cool feature if you're switching back and forth between reading or looking at photographs or something like that. You can actually set independent zoom levels for those. So if you see it zooming in and out while I'm cycling through the contrast modes, that's why it's doing that. So one last thing you can do, if you have a favorite high contrast mode or you tend to switch back and forth between one high contrast mode and full color for your reading, you can press and hold rather than just touch it, and you can switch back and forth between full color mode and press and hold again, and it will switch you right back to the last color mode you were on. Kind of a cool little placeholder feature for you, so you have to press this and cycle through all the color modes each time to get back to the one you want. Okay, moving on, we have our zoom in and zoom out control. So just a big plus to zoom in, press and hold, zoom out with the minus, just like that. Really easy to do. The zoom's all the way into 65 times, so you can get really, really, really high magnification with this. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, and there we are at 65 times. We'll zoom back out, and it has a base time zoom of 2 times. Okay, we'll just go back out to 2 times. Okay, and there's 2 times right there. And also there's an autofocus button or a focus button right in the middle. That's this kind of little magnifier icon. If I press this, it'll refocus the camera for me. Just in case anything was a touch bit blurry, you can always tap that. Your camera will refocus just like that. Moving on, we have our brightness button here. We press this to cycle through our different brightness levels. This can be nice if you have any sort of light sensitivity, or even if you're reading in a dark room and you just don't want the monitor on full brightness, you can adjust that down to something that's more comfortable. Okay? And then also you can press and hold on the brightness here. And when you do this, this brings up your reading lines and line masks. So what you can do is you press and hold, and it pops up a reading line here, and you can swipe right or left to adjust the position up or down of your reading line or line mask. So I'll just do that real quick. Just swipe, it moves it. And then I can also swipe up and down to change through my reading lines and line masks. So there's vertical reading line, there's a line mask, which we can adjust, and there is a vertical line mask, which we can adjust. And we swipe again up, and then we back to our just regular horizontal reading line. And if I press and hold again, those will shut right back off. Okay, so that's really all there is to it, except for one last thing. You can do some configuration to kind of customize this, maybe pare it down to the controls you use the most. So to do that, you just simply shut the unit down, okay? And after it's shut down, then you would press and hold the power button while it boots up. So normally you just press and hold it until you hear the chime. That means it's starting, and you can let go. But if you press and hold all the way through start while it's booting, it'll actually enter you into a little configuration menu here. So we'll go ahead and do that. Okay, and here we are. Here's a list of all of our different high contrast modes, and we can use the plus and minus to cycle through these. So for example, I'm not a huge fan of the greens and reds, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn those off. So to turn it off, I just press the magnifier icon in the center of the plus and minus, and then there's a big red X next to it. Do the same for the other green and the reds, okay? And now I just shut those off. So now when I'm cycling through my high contrast modes, only these ones are gonna appear, the ones I want. So that way you can pare it down just to the select few that you use the most, and you don't have to cycle through all of them each time. Kind of a handy little feature. There's also another screen full of settings, and you can get to that by pressing the brightness button. And here it has things like you can change your base zoom level. So normally it starts out at 2x zoom, but you can actually have it start out at 0x zoom if you want. You can check that. You can turn on and off things like beep, change your reading lines or line masks, have them be present or not, choose your refresh rate, your color balance, things like that. You can all adjust right here. Okay, and then press the brightness button again one more time, and we have a screen that gives us a factory reset. So just in case anything's being a little funny, you can always do a factory reset to set it back to factory defaults, which takes care of most any issue on there. All right, and again, we go back to our full contrast, or our list of contrast modes where we can turn on and off the ones we want. So now that I've selected what I want, I simply shut the unit down. Okay, and then after I shut it down, I can start it back up. And when I start it back up and I go through my list of high contrast modes, now those ones I turned off will be gone. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let it boot up real fast. All right, Rehan. Okay, and there we are. I'm gonna straighten that out. And I'm just gonna cycle through my high contrast modes here